In latter months, Australia has been fighting in a disagreeable question, how to stay up for its values and transactions in China's growing impact. Australia has been driving to address the question on different levels, of its policy to its economics and its universities. But brush in brush comes else issue, how can they be made, and debated, out of flaring China, its largest economical supporting, and China Australians? Is the China impact discussion at hazard of proper bigot? Main Secretary Malcolm Turnbull, mention harassing accountable of China impact, told the contentious laws would especially goal secret, compulsory activities. Broad fears include abounded on citizen links to the China Communistic Side, CCP, detained by China citizens conduct industry or student in Australia, and by members of the China diasporas. M.S. Munch, an Australia-born author and militant of Malaysia Chinese reduction, says the ambience is generative, a lot of thumb indicating and targeting of China. Down there's anything incorrect in debating overseas impact. Sorrowfully, down there's a lot of darkness of Australians who see China and this China as a monolith society. Australia has a length story of dislike to China in Australia with Europe community, start in racing atrocity among the race of the 1850s and 60s. In hundreds of China prospectors injured and evicted of mountain sites, the strife-induced migration rules how led to the shameful whites Australia politics that existed in different forms of 1901 before 1973. M.S. Munch says such who say the discussion has not undertaken on bigot underlying reason include never florid xenophobia, nor seen it, so they don't see racist as color the discussion. M.S. Munch was a vocals reviewer Professor Hamilton and his volume, She helping persuade one location to revoke plans to army its start. She told she and such activists had acquired lot bigot comments on public print newly. She was charged, in a chirp of Professor Hamilton oneself of creature a Wu Mao, that translates as 50 dime, and tool a China promoter. In March, several 80 academic environment in China examination put their names to an outdoor email precautionary how which was take form was a racialized story of a extensive formal China plot. In several eyes, they told, China designed to bring Australia to the statute of a homage country or feudatory. Fears about racist were as well allocated in a speaking by Australia's Racing Discrimination Commissar, Dr. Tim Soutphommasane, over the monthly. He alerted how several of the hostility to the China side country is menacing to shed above in a general suspect of China Australians. Taking into account down there are 1.2 million Australians who include China origin, the scope of such a capacity harm would be considerable, he told. Professor John Fitzgerald, a China specialist at Melbourne's Swinburne College, denies how racist has spoiled the discussion. He was portion of a team of academic environment who signed a resist letter press house spot. Lurid headlines on China are not bigot, fair as lurid headlines on the joint state or India are not bigot, they're on a nation, a country. Racist is on human beings certain by the color of their leather. On to Richard McGregor, a China specialist at Australia believe Pot Lowy Institution, Beijing is as well those guilty of muddying the discussion, by charging any who criticize the by the government of creature against Chinese and perhaps bigot. How way they box the discussion, so it makes it a really hard question to though talk, he told. Yet as well the true is Australia has a bigot story, and human beings are really unwilling to do whatever how revisits how, and how makes it an elegantly difficult question to get order in regulation of social discussion. Certainly he's probable to discussion the question out of creature bigot. I believe human beings can, although not all can. Meantime, near the impact discussion include go acts of abuse devoted versus ethnically China human beings in Australia. In October, 2 China top high school students were beaten in Canberra. Recent August, 4 persons China students, and a coach, were injured by else undergraduate owning a baseball game bat in a Canberra college class. The China by the government answered in a social security precautionary for all China students in Australia. Police force include told they trust no one assault was racially reasoned. Yet, recent monthly a man was detained following damaging 7 human beings on a road in Sydney, in police force approving he attacked them due to their Asiatic exterior. Visible author and reporter Benjamin Act, the son of post-Kong migrant, says portion of the issue is how China Australians, who present 5.6% of the people, are nearly fully lack of official position of force. He's not remarkable later how China human beings, if China citizens or China Australians, are frequently talked on as abstraction public and economical phenomena, edged in the tongue of concern and intrusion, he told. The overseas impact law is yet by growth, and has already driven a foreseeable clearance of China. Fears of economical vengeance are severe in Australia, whose 4 persons' greatest sectors, mountain formation, travel, and farming, rely hard on China. The laws are not intended to attention exclusively on China, and as Ms. Munch says, China is far of the just nation in increasing impact in Australia. But as length as the discussion focuses on China, she says, the kind of loathe and toxic will just go on.